Hi everybody, Neil Kravitz here. For today's clinical pearl, I'd like to talk about IPR. Now, I think the most important clinical pearl with IPR is to make sure you have verbal informed consent. Now, I know our consent forms talk about IPR, but it's critical when you sit down with the patient before you do the procedure that you explain what you are about to do and make sure they are okay with it. Some patients will say, hey, listen, I know the benefits. I know that we'll get rid of my embouchures or black triangles, but I simply do not want it done. And that's okay. That's okay. So I always talk to the patient. I always explain what I'm going to do before I do it, and it makes for a better experience. The next clinical pearl I do is I always start with a red strip, the finest strip. So even if I'm going to use a disc or a burr, I always start with a red strip. I simply begin light separation between the teeth. So if I want to use strips and build up to a green or a blue, it's a much easier experience. A young doctor will make the mistake by going in there with a heavy, thick strip right away and really work on slenderizing the teeth. That's very uncomfortable. The patient is getting pulled every time they're doing the IPR. Don't do that. Always start with a red strip, no matter what technique you're doing. In my office, I primarily use red strips. If I need a little bit more IPR, I will simply bend the strip after I'm done using it and get a little bit added thickness. If I need to use a disc, I will still start with the strip first, but the benefit of starting with the strip before the disc is it prevents the disc from catching on the tooth and potentially damaging the lip. So the pearl here is always get informed consent. Even though you have written consent, get that verbal consent. Always start with a red strip, even if you are going to use a handpiece or a disc. It will make the experience much more comfortable for the patient. Give this a shot. Let me know what you think. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. Thank you for supporting the JCO.